What's up guys, Tactical Tinkers here, checking in on our little 3D print operation for today. I own a business, has nothing to do with 3D printing, but I got interested in it, so I'm trying to learn about 3D printers, make some sales, kind of learn the whole process, explore this wide new world. I'm just exhibiting what I'm doing here. This is not instructional, so join me along in this journey. I do some giveaways, and I just kind of been vlogging daily and what I'm up to, what I'm discovering, my thoughts on it, so join along in the fun. So what am I working on today? Well, it broke format yesterday. Hopefully that goes well, but we're back at it. So if you saw the previous run of videos where I was kind of lamenting that I wasn't selling anything on Etsy, and the follow-up where I was talking about focusing in on, you know, certain key things that are popular or whatever, I was kind of narrowing it down to split up my Etsy into the character models, the art prints, and the functional prints. And so that way I can kind of focus in on those individual products and not have to worry about having just this big conglomeration of stuff. I'm not even sure if conglomeration is a word. Maybe let me know in the comments below. But I've chosen kind of a couple products to really hyper focus on. Some great feedback and suggestions in the comments, like using the Orange Storm Giga for things like furniture, or I thought, well, I kind of thought of this, of like a cat house, you know, like for my cats to go in, because they're always ruining cat beds and they always want to sleep somewhere different to get away from the other cats. So maybe cat houses or something like that. But for right now, my focus is on, well, let's just show you. Probably figured out the focus is on skulls, because I printed the super giant T-Rex skull on the Giga, and now I'm printing a slightly smaller version. And that's really to get away from those oversized shipping charges. Talk about that a lot. Like, you know, if you go over any dimension, a combination of 30, 30, 20, you get into oversized cubits or whatever for the shipping companies. So I thought, well, let's just print the biggest one that we possibly can that fits into a box that is just barely underneath those oversized charges. And so that's what I'm starting out to do. So I've got another T-Rex head here. This one comes out to about, I think in total, 24 inches long. Really playing with the geometry, I was like kind of trying to figure it up. And I was like, let's just go for a 24 incher. Put it together, and then we can measure it and say, like, okay, I can go 3 inches bigger here, you know, 2 inches wider, whatever. So I just kind of yeeted it and threw it on there. It's looking great. I did have a couple failures on it, because the previous T-Rex head, if you remember, it was printed super duper strong. I got a 1mm nozzle on here, and I'm like, well, can I get away with one wall loop and like low infill? Will it be strong? And that's what I tried. Let's see if I still got it here. I haven't made my trip out to the ocean yet today to throw these away. I think this was the one wall loop. It really just starts failing sort of here on these small perimeters, on the outer perimeters. You can see there, just a complete nightmare. So I slowed it down. I'm keeping the same settings for all of the flow rate that I did. I did a flow rate calculation for this filament, which is the filament I'm going to stick with. But it's just not coming out. So I went back to 2, and I think that gave it a little something stickier to stick to. Slowed it down a bit, and this one seems to be coming out great. So this one's due to come out at the end of the day today. Gonna do the jaw section. And skulls is kind of like the thing I was kind of focused on, because I was looking around again at analytics. Skulls are kind of like this basic sort of thing. They're of interest to kids and education places, and they can be high art, I guess. A lot of people do skulls, but a lot of people don't do the really big ones. So my aim is, you know what, let's just focus on, well, we'll focus on many things, but let's focus on this one thing. Let's get like 5, 6, 7, 10 different types of skulls. Put them all on the Etsy. We can do different variants. We can do ones that are gold or rainbow or gradient or silk PLA, things like that, and just see what comes of it. Overall, I'm not too worried about investing in the filament to have them up and on there, and just see if it happens, if it clicks. I kind of like the idea of being able to market or tag these things, these products, as relevant to for classroom, for kids' room, things like that, because people spend money on their kids like it's nobody's business. They don't even think about it, and they'll just buy it without really kind of giving it too much of a look, depending on the product, of course. And so I want to capitalize on that if I can. So skulls is kind of one of the things I'm currently focusing on. And so down here on Cobra number 3, we're doing a test, our first test of another skull type. This one's far more complex than T-Rex skull. That's why I'm running it as a test. It's just this black PLA. If it succeeds, you know, I'll burn up a spool's worth of PLA, but it's okay. I'd rather do that than try to make it perfect and then just pray and go big and then it fail again. So doing a little test here with some cheap PLA. We've got some more parts for our rollers coming out. We've got one of the rollers in service. Looks like our Stovall just finished up some parts for the next one. These are the back linkages that kind of hold the arms steady. Again, if you've been following this process, whatever you think about it, it works really well. So I got this over here on the Stovall. Let's go put another one. Do I have another one to put together? I don't. So let's go in the office and take a look at and see what else I got. All right, and so these back linkages going here on the spool holder. I actually have one here I needed some extra for. So this, I think I can maybe just squeeze this in. Yeah. So again, this is the spool holder that I'm gonna put up for like $1. It works great. And then all the proceeds from that I'm gonna do to a local charity. So once we have that in place and all fleshed out, I'll start linking it in the description. But these hold it all together. I did a black pink motif. It's my favorite color combination that ever existed. So these work great at holding spools in place, keeps them from tangling, keeps them from like back winding and jumping the edge of the spool. So these I'm gonna swap out the entire farm on these, and eventually I'm gonna start getting together ones that hold the big end, the big 5 kilogram spools, because I put in a sizable, I would say sizable order with Elegoo, because we're approaching year end, you know, and it's quite a lot of filament. It's quite a lot of 5 kilogram spools in there, because on these Gigaprints, swapping out the filament partway through the print, prefer not to do that, especially with some of these more complex ones. So I got a lot of 5 kilogram spools. I'm gonna need a 5, I have the one that came with it, but to keep it from like jumping out at the end, I'm gonna have some of these 5 kilogram spools ready to go once I design them and kind of like figure them all out. And a lot of people offering their feedback and suggestions on my this is not working video. Do you remember that one where I showed the Etsy and $0 in sales? That came out yesterday. I'm several days ahead. So that came out yesterday. A lot of people offering their feedback. Appreciate all the comments and replies and suggestions and all the engagement. So again, splitting it all up, I think is a good move moving forward. And, you know, again, I mention it here and there. I don't really kind of force the issue or kind of bring it to the forefront of what I'm doing, but media is a big component of what I'm doing with this project. So factor that in, you know, for whatever it's worth. You know, I do have to keep moving pretty briskly, because a lot of people come in and say like, you know, well, you should just hyper focus on one particular product, and that doesn't really make for great media. I don't think that would really keep people coming back and engaged. If, for instance, like the spool holder, if I was, you know, hyper fixated on making, you know, an original version of this, you know, this would take me, among my other activities, probably a week, at least 2 weeks, and maybe a month if I had to, you know, pepper in learning a CAD program on top of that. And, you know, cranking out 10 to 20 minutes of material and video content every day while just focusing on that one thing. Would you watch that? I'm gonna roll a dice and say that you wouldn't, because I wouldn't. So that's, again, if you know, maybe want to consider that before sort of saying like I should focus on one thing. I do have to keep it some variety moving in. At least that's my strategy moving forward. So again, I appreciate all the suggestions and comments and feedback on that video. I'm certainly taking a lot of that to heart, especially the suggestions with what to print on the Giga, because, you know, it doesn't really make sense for me to print things that could be printed on another printer, or, you know, maybe even things that could be printed in parts on a smaller printer and assembled together by someone with much more time and patience than I have. So maybe things like furniture or planters or other stuff that, you know, you just absolutely have to print in one big go, and it has to be, you know, much larger than the average printer is able to produce. So I'm going to be looking more into those things. If you have any suggestions on what to print on the Giga, please let me know in the comments below. I'm glad to take a look at it, and I'd be internally grateful if one of those panned out. Someone else had a remark too about the, because I've had some, you know, my biggest success with crypto mining parts, that I should double down on that. And so I have another YouTube channel where I would push these, and that's, you know, where a lot of the sales came from, is, you know, making people familiar with the product. And I've done sales for these on eBay and other places as well. You know, and if this were any other type of product, yeah, I'd absolutely be doing that. But crypto mining, I mean, if you're unfamiliar, it's not in a great place, and it's kind of been going downhill for years, it seems. I'm not exactly sure that it could pick up again. Plus, the products that come in and out of crypto mining are always changing, which makes it great for 3D printing. So, you know, this fits a particular mining device, And if the manufacturer of that device decides, hey, it needs to be an inch taller, well, this has to be completely redesigned and brought to market quickly because in mining, speed is the name of the game. You got to get those things on the network as fast as possible because the rewards go down over time. So 3D printing and crypto mining sometimes go hand in hand for these types of products. So I'm certainly going to stay part of it, but I don't know that doubling down on it is because there's not this constant ongoing need for these various types of widgets and parts for crypto mining. So I'm certainly keeping my eye on it for any sort of opportunity for products to create there. But I don't know that it's something I can really like double down on because it's not, again, it's not something that everybody and their mother is into. A lot of people coming and going out of it, devices change. So it's not like you sort of a main milk and honey type of product category to get into. But again, I'm staying on top of it. So the name of the game today is actually nothing. I've got Christmas bullshit to do today, so unfortunately I have to do that and break for my 3D printer. So hopefully when I return, the T-Rex skull will be complete. We can get the jaw section going. We can get it in here, measure it up, get it on the Etsy, and hopefully make $1 billion, right? Because that's exactly how it works, right? So hopefully that goes through. Hopefully the new skull test comes out positive. We can get the spool rollers on there and then just start looking for more skulls. I don't have a character model going. My P1P is quiet. So maybe get another character model going on the way there. The Dark Digital Prints one was the last one we did. And I started looking at some of their other models, Digital Dark Prints. They're a little much. They're a little much. I thought Karinka's models were bad. Digital Dark is, kind of on the next level. That one, the gamer girl that I printed, was kind of like the appetizer for what else is to come, because some of the other models are, they're a little out there. So maybe take a look at what Karinka's been working on. Maybe look at Digital Dark. Maybe even some other creators on cults of those type of character models or what have you. And keep fleshing that out, keep going on that, keep migrating my products over. I still have a few more art prints to migrate over to my regular art Etsy. So continuing to work on that. Love to know what you're working on in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm The Technicals. See you next time.